Hey, Lynea, it's Stephanie and Adrian from the How to Be a Redhead podcast. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing so good. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to talk about, products and life and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so let's get right into it. This is a question we always like to ask our redheaded guests. What was it like for you growing up with red hair?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I feel like every redhead has the same story.
I know, it's
Yeah.
so true. I love to hear it over and over. I really do, but everyone has their own spin on it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, as well, okay, I have a very weird beginning because when I came out, I had very bright red hair. And my mom has very dark brown hair, and my dad has very black hair, and same with my grandparents. And so they were like, okay, what, what is this? And we had to do a lot of family research, and we found out the red hair gene goes we're really, really high up in my family pool. So it like skips
Wow.
multiple generations before showing up. So it was a big surprise when I had red hair in my personal family. And then, I mean, just really growing up, you have the half of people that treat you like royalty, that love your red hair, that think it's incredible. And then you have I would say the bulk of people that bully you for it. Um,
Yeah. So were you bullied?
Oh, terribly. It's
Yeah.
it's very cruel, and it's not something that
Kids are
ever went
mean.
away.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's, just from starting school all the way up until into college, you have all those bullying comments, and then also as you get older, you have that like sexualized fetish thing about redheads that's very weird to handle as a
I know.
teenager. But yeah, a lot of bullying, a lot of weirdness, but it does go far.
Yeah. And do you love your red hair now?
I do. I have a
Yeah.
weird relationship with the hair now because as I grow older, I'm noticing it getting more brown and more brown.
Same, girl. Same.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that that was a thing. No one prepared me to start to lose my color a little bit. It was something I've really had to kind of almost deal with a little on emotional level of losing that bright color.
Yeah, it's like you lose your identity. I mean, I love being a redhead and I would be really insulted. Like I've been in, like bars or whatever, and someone's like, "Your hair isn't red." And I'm like, "We need to step into the light because it is so red." Like,
Right,
and then
bringing
I
it to the
realized
sun.
it's my identity. Yeah, 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 yeah. And we will talk about one
It's
of the
almost like an
campaigns you did with
insult.
us. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I was gonna say you did a campaign with us, and I remember at the end of the video you were like, "Let's go into the light to like see
Right.
that I am a redhead."
I promise it's red. I just need some
Right.
sun.
I
Right.
know, and it's so true. It's like different parts. Yes, if you're like lighting makes such a big difference, but especially to a redhead because one minute your hair may look brown, another time it may look like there's some blonde streaks in it. But yeah, and like I said, I get insulted if someone like in the past have said, "Wait, what? Like you're a co-founder of like a redhead brand and but you have brown hair." Like multiple times I've heard that. And then that's when I'm like, okay, I think I just need I use, yeah. But then I use products at home to up my red hair, which I personally like to do. It makes me just feel good, when my hair looks vibrant. But I think, yeah, it's something that not all redheads experience, but a large majority do experience fading red hair. So we have to know that we're not alone in this in this
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
being a redhead. And you made a video telling your story of how you've had over 30 jobs, none of them which paid you enough to get by. Now you're killing it. So congrats, running your own wedding business and photography business. What gave you the inspiration to start your own business and to start wedding and photography?
Yeah, thank you. So I've always wanted to run my own business. I would be like 5 years old, like drawing puzzles to try to sell them to the other children in the playground. Like, it's something I've always wanted to do. And unfortunately, I never came from the opportunity to have money. It was always just trying to figure out as we go. But all of those jobs kind of felt like I was picking up puzzle pieces. And the more
Mm,
puzzle pieces I picked up, the more I I could kind of put this big puzzle together. And I feel like at this point now, I'm finally starting to, like, I have all the corner pieces. I'm starting to see the middle. It's starting to
Yeah.
make more
Yep.
sense.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's hard to explain how I've got into it, but it just, over the course of the time, I've picked up skills here and there through all those jobs, and now we're doing something really big.
I did.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, and I did have one question that is not on our call sheet but out of the 30 jobs, just wanting to know out of curiosity, do you have like out of the one funny crazy job or maybe a crazy story? Maybe being a redhead, maybe not. Because 30, I mean, you must
Yeah.
have stories with 30.
Oh my God. I absolutely do. I think really the most, like, the one that immediately comes to my brain is being a cleaner for my college campus. And there was just so many moments there where, I mean, you're cleaning college dorm rooms and you can just let your mind go wild.
Oh my God, the amount of stuff that you probably saw.
Oh my God.
And I would just be, and it's so funny because I would be like plucking nails out of a carpet. For some reason, this one room that I had to clean had so many nails and I couldn't pick it up, like toenails.
What? Oh my
And
gosh, they weren't taught you're supposed to do that over the toilet.
so I couldn't pick it up with the vacuum. I couldn't get it with it was like in the carpet. It was so disgusting. And so I had to like hand pick these toenails out of the carpet. And
Oh my gosh.
At first, I thought you meant nails, like that you
No.
hammer, but you're talking about toenails.
Toenails
So, like,
and nails.
clipping.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh my God. So that was like the most memorable. But I would be sitting there, like getting those little toenails out of the carpet, practicing my speech on how successful I'm going to be someday. And this is one of those stories I'm going to say when I, reach my first million.
Yeah, like your daily
Yeah.
mantra to yourself.
Oh my God. Yeah. So many weird jobs, from cleaning to exterior painting. I had like one of those big suits on. I would be up like 100 feet in the air painting. I did so many like weird landscape jobs, all kinds of stuff.
You know what though? You probably picked up some talents from those little things. I've noticed that little jobs I've had in my life, I'm like, oh, okay, they kind of like trickled into what I do now. Like in little ways, like you see them just trickling and you're like, oh, like maybe you had to get up on a ladder or do something for a wedding and you're like, oh, I've done this. I can do
Never
it.
done that. Right. Yeah, that, and also just I've always tackled each job as much of a sponge as possible. Even if I absolutely hated the job, I'm like, okay, what can I take? Like, maybe I
From
just really
this?
don't like how this boss worked, and I will never work like that boss.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
like
how,
yes.
Yes.
Like your different experiences. And we want to go right into talking all about weddings. Whether you're, maybe there's a redhead listener who's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting married, or I'm eloping, or my best friend's getting married who's a redhead, or maybe a mom's listening who, whatever the situation is. But you have an Amazon list of products you recommend for the night before the wedding, which I find so interesting. Because I think a lot just think that day and not prior. Maybe I got married 8 years ago, so maybe it's changed. Social, TikTok didn't exist. So there wasn't really a lot of information for me personally to look for other than just random Google and creating a Pinterest board. But take us through some of your favorites in terms of skincare and why you recommend them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really think that people should plan for wedding skincare like 3 months out, to be honest.
Yeah.
Drinking tons of water, starting to play around with the different skincare to see what works best for your skin, doing all the facials, like all that stuff needs to be 3 months in advance. So that way your skin can adjust to the skincare so you can understand like what works best. But directly before the night, I always say like, do the teeth whitener strips, get those like collagen, nice eye bag things to put on overnight. And weirdly, one of my biggest tips that I tell people, especially as you get older, my older brides, is those silicone stick-on anti-wrinkle pads. I don't even know what they're called.
Oh my gosh.
But they're amazing.
Yes.
I think I know what you're talking about. Like,
oh, it's a brand. Yeah.
Yeah, you put them on your...
Put it on your chest. and you can like put it on your throat or even on your eyes or anything like that. I particularly do my throat and chest because I get like I sleep like this. I sleep really like cut, like squished in, and so I get all those wrinkles on my chest when I wake up in the morning. And you have to take pictures. It's like bright and early in the morning when you're on your wedding day. So that's something. It really smooths out wrinkles before you go to bed.
Yeah.
I actually heard something the other day on TikTok and I loved it. It said, the uglier you go to bed, the hotter you wake up. And I was like, yeah,
absolutely.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Because I wake up looking great because I look horrible. I have all this stuff all over my face. My hair is up. I've recently, Steph, I haven't told you, I've been like wearing like a silk thing to like keep my blowouts.
I just saw something like that on TikTok.
Oh, yeah. And so I've been like doing this, but I think that for brides, going way in advance and doing all of this and getting into a routine is a really must.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important.
And then, okay, so we know most brides have a wedding day emergency kit. I didn't know that even existed. What do you include for your redhead brides? I love that because I don't know, maybe
emergencies happen. Yeah.
Maybe they need floss. I'm always getting food stuck in my teeth, so I probably needed that on my day.
9 out of 10 times when we're sitting anywhere, really, I just am like, Steph, you have stuff in your teeth.
It's always
like
these,
all the time.
Always these two teeth right here. They always get stuck with something. So
like
I wish that I had. Yeah, I wish that I had an emergency kit. But that's nice that you offer that to your brides.
Yeah, as a planner, it's crucial. Even when I do my photography jobs, I'll bring my kit with me just because it's so important. And these days, weirdly, I think just because TikTok has spread so much information, a lot more brides are more prepared than ever. Like a lot of the brides have their emergency kit covered.
Yeah.
But that was definitely not always the case. In my kit's very large, I will say. I have like a steamer. I have every possible,
wow, it's like a suitcase. You have a suitcase.
Literally, yeah. And it's like it comes with me everywhere, even when I travel. I even have like extension cords in there. Very weird.
That's so
items.
Great. No, extension cords are very handy. How about grooms? I'm just curious. Do you also cater to like helping them out on their day?
Absolutely. The grooms are a little bit easier. They don't have as much going on, if you would. Yeah. But typically, the most important thing that I bring in my safety kit and my emergency kit is things for the boutonnieres. That is always the boutonnieres stress guys out a lot. They're really weird to put in sometimes. We have the pocket boutonnieres now. There's all different kinds. But 20 times out of 10, a guy is stabbing themselves with a boutonniere.
So right.
Blood everywhere.
Then he's bleeding through his white shirt.
Yeah. And static spray. Static spray is a huge one that not many people think about, but it's so important on the day of.
Yeah. No, because static, especially with photography, I'm sure that you know. And then, okay, nail inspiration, Adrian.
I know. I love nails. I love nails.
Pink nails. I love the pink.
I know, me too.
Nails, I always say, like, go crazy when you have your wedding day. I mean, you're
go
gonna
crazy,
have so many
not
pictures.
go like neutral.
A lot of people go neutral, and I totally understand why. But I mean, I think that's the one really big day where your hands are being taken pictures of over and over and over again. Also, kind of a skincare tip to make sure your hands are seriously moisturized.
Right,
before the day on.
Yeah.
But I mean, your hand is getting picture after picture after picture, and people are looking at it all throughout the guests. So I mean, I say go crazy, but I do have so many nail inspos on my Pinterest for weddings.
Yeah,
that's so cool. And this was not on the sheet, but I was wondering too, did your own wedding, and I don't know the timeline of events, so tell me if I'm wrong, but did your own wedding inspire you to want to do this full time? Or were you already involved in it and loved it even more? I'm wondering if your own wedding, because I saw your photos, you were recently married, right? In the last couple of years?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Congrats.
September. Thank you. 2022. I started in the wedding industry as a photographer. So I had been doing a ton of weddings, loving the behind the scenes, and looking back at it now, doing way more than what a photographer should be doing. I was always running around trying to run the day the way that a planner was. And when we did our wedding, I got to see I don't know, there's a different side of it. When you are a vendor and you work for weddings without having your own, it's just a different perspective shift. Things really changed for me. And I saw how complicated the wedding was from a client's perspective. And I just made it my mission from that point on. I'm like, my whole goal is to simplify this thing because it is so complicated as a bride and as a groom.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really when we dove into the wedding planning, and that took off.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
awesome. And
That's really
then, okay,
awesome.
so the cocktail toppers, tell us about that because I've seen that on your social. And what are they and how did you come up with them?
Oh my gosh. So I originally was trying to come up with ways that were budget friendly to customize your wedding. So a lot of what I try to do is just bring some more reality into what weddings are and how expensive they are.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, like, how can we bring that customized, elegant experience, but at like a lower cost? And that's how we ended up coming up with these cocktail toppers. And it's just wafer paper and ink, and you can put literally whatever you want on them, whether it's your initials or a picture or whatever. And then you place it on your cocktail, just like any other garnish. You can eat it, you can drink it, you can toss it.
Oh, you can
Um,
eat it. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's fully edible. And those were really successful when we first launched. But this past week, I launched our Truth or Dare toppers, and I don't even know how we're keeping up at this point. We sold and hand cut like 30,000 toppers last week alone, and so now we're trying to figure out, okay,
Wow.
what is the next step here, because we obviously cannot be hand cutting all of these toppers
Oh my, so what's the
anymore.
truth or dare? Like, can they customize them?
Yeah, so it's a pre-made pack that I've made, and you get 50 different prompts. Some are truths, some are dares, and it's all about wedding stuff. Like
That's
That's
so
I
really
cool.
cool.
yeah, yeah. So like the truths just prompts you to talk about the newlyweds or talk about people that are guests. It really gets conversation going. And
Yeah,
the
definitely.
dares I've kept the dares kind of a little bit light. They're nothing too extreme at a wedding. They're very appropriate, but they're really fun. You know, like take a video and post it, or like, these kinds of prompts that get cocktail hour really moving.
That's
Wow.
really cool. And it kind
I
of
love
breaks the
that.
ice for a lot. Because if you think about it, you're mixing groups of friends. So you may stick to your friends at a wedding, but then venture off to a new group or somehow get in a new group that you may not know anyone. And it's kind of like if you're not an extrovert or someone that knows how to start a conversation, it's nice to just look at your cocktail and be like, oh my God, what does yours say? It is cool. Such a cool idea.
It makes it
Thank
fun
you.
too. It makes it fun because
Yeah.
I think as a person who's been to many weddings, they at one point or another they all become the same. And I think
Yes.
that that's what a really good planner does is it makes the guests experience something different. And the great weddings that are in my mind were different. They somehow had different things. There was a lot of like, I don't know, you didn't you the food was good maybe, and then you think about like how it's interactive and you don't remember it ever being dull. And I think
Right.
that that doesn't always mean that it doesn't have to cost a lot to make a party fun. And I think just having those cocktail toppers makes it fun. And it's not it I think that's what people are striving for because the bride and groom can't be there interacting with all these people at once.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and then
The
going
more
in,
personalization. Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Yes,
No, no, no,
yes.
no. That's exactly correct.
Yeah.
And then so a question that we get asked a lot, and then we'll definitely go into makeup because that's something that obviously being a redhead, we get questions all the time that, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do on my wedding day, or maybe I'm a guest, but colors. It's something that we do get asked quite a bit when it comes to a redhead who's planning their wedding and they're just maybe it's the colors of the whole wedding, or maybe it's the bridesmaids' dresses, making sure that, when you're taking a group shot that it looks nice. Like I picked mauve, which was like a pinkish color. And I thought that looked really nice with all the greenery at my wedding. But what's some advice that you would give for a redhead bride?
Yeah, it's funny you picked mauve. That was like my main color as well. I thought it
Was
blended
yeah.
really
Oh, it's still
Oh,
nicely.
popular. I'm good. Yeah, it's such a beautiful
Yeah.
color.
Yeah. Well, I think the main struggle that most redhead brides deal with is the white dress. I never
Uh,
wear white really.
right. That's
And
such a good point.
yeah, and when you're trying on dresses, I mean, the first one that I tried on was pure white, and I'm like, wow, I look like a ghost. I was like, I'm going to
So
be
what color dress did
haunting.
you pick?
I actually got an off white,
Oh,
and also the
pretty.
under layer of it was a champagne color. So I went with more
Beautiful.
that like softer. I need more warmer tones for my skin and for my hair, so I went with that soft pinky champagne color.
Beautiful. Wow, that's awesome. I didn't even know. Yeah, I guess in my head I'm like white dress, but that's not the case. For me personally, I went with the white dress, but I agree. I think that it can look stark. It could look harsh on a lot of redheads who also don't wear white
Yeah,
on
and
their
then
day to day.
as for like the rest of the wedding colors, I mean, we all know that redheads look beautiful in autumn, and that kind of seems like the go-to, neutrals and the
Mm-hmm.
greens. I'm a sucker for greens with red
Same,
hair.
same.
But also, I think purples are beautiful for redheads as well as blues. I think that royal blue color is
I know.
really one of the most bold and gorgeous colors on redheads. So I think it just kind of depends on like how bold do you want to go. But I mean, I don't know. To be honest, I don't think you can pick any wrong color for a redhead, but those are my favorites.
Redheads, have you heard?
We aired on ABC's Shark Tank, episode 14, season 15. We are busy developing products and continuing to grow this incredible redhead lifestyle brand.
Check out our mascara and eyebrow products in red hot shades, hair care, merch, lifestyle items, and so much more. Redheads, we can now rejoice.
Finally, there are products for us.
Use code podcast to get 15% off your next purchase. Shop at shop.howtobearedhead.com. You know what, too, is so interesting is I don't know if I did it on my wedding day. I don't remember, but sunless tanning for redheads. I feel like if you have a very white dress, some redheads might opt to do a sunless tan, right? And then some redheads are
And then
like,
it
no, I'm
goes
going to
on it.
embrace my skin. I feel like it has to be a conversation every redhead has with themselves or friends or family. Like, am I going to sunless tan or am I going to accept my skin?
I literally made a post about that
Did
before I
you?
got married. Yeah, I was like, guys, I cannot decide. Like, do I get a tan or do I not? And I
Yeah.
had hundreds of comments of people suggesting what I should or shouldn't do. I
And what
ended
did
up
you
not
do?
doing it.
You didn't.
I
You
ended up
didn't.
not doing it. I embraced the paleness.
So did I.
I think I did
Yeah.
too. I don't think that I really think I did. It's been so long now, 12 years. But I think that that was kind of like my start of loving my skin was like when I wore white on my wedding day and I had no sunless tan
Right.
on for like the first time in my life because I was like addicted to sunless tanner. And then I don't know, and then just somewhere along the line, I was like, well, this is just my skin and I'm going to love it. But when you're wearing a white dress, it made me think about that. You're going to think, should I tan? I mean, that's the society we live in. Like tan is better.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I don't know if you know the commercial for Zoom Tan where it's why be pale and pasty when you can be tan and tasty? And that has burned into my brain.
No.
Right? It's
Oh,
terrible.
yeah. I mean, I love my pale skin. I really do. I think, yeah, I mean, I use sunless tanner if I have every now and then for like a special
Me too, like
occasion, but
once a year or something.
Right. It
yeah,
changes it up a little bit, but
yeah,
definitely
it's
not
nice.
good.
But yeah, it's nice to switch it. I agree. It's nice to switch it up, but I think yeah, I think to each their I mean, everyone's different. I'm sure that you would agree on their wedding day and what they feel comfortable with. How about hairstyle? Do you recommend obviously it would depend on their hair texture, length, the time of year, like whether humidity versus dry heat, but do brides ask for your opinion or is that something that's not really discussed and they leave that up to the hairstylists?
Yeah, I mean, I always recommend talking to the professional that knows
Mm.
about that particular thing, but I do tell my brides, if you're not necessarily used to your hair being in your face, I would not wear your hair down. And especially when it
Mm,
comes to like photographing, so many brides, they get this beautiful down, like all their hair is down, and then the whole time they're just like wiping it away from their face and,
yeah.
trying to get those photos. So I love a half up, half down look. I love an updo. But if you do have it down, just make sure that it has enough volume away from your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And how about
that's a really good point. Sorry, Steph. What I was going to say was when it comes to even hair and makeup, I feel like I have a friend who never wears red lipstick and then on her wedding day decided I'm going to wear red lipstick. And she felt so uncomfortable because
yeah,
even though it looked gorgeous, it's not her.
she wasn't
And
used
I
to
was
wearing
just
it,
thinking
right?
about that when you were talking about your hairstyle. Like, if you're not used to, like, don't get bangs 2 weeks before your wedding or a
Right
week
before the
before.
wedding.
Like, if you're not used to having face on hair right on your forehead, right? So
Yeah.
I was thinking that has to be something. Do you talk about that with your clients or you let it, what do you say?
Yeah. Yeah, I exactly how you put it is, you want to feel most like yourself on that day. And I mean, it's very important that you do trials, and I encourage every single person to do a
Mm,
trial with the hair person, with the makeup person, see how
yeah.
it feels. And sometimes I'll even encourage brides to do like a bridal portrait or bridal shoot on the day that they do their trial. So that
Oh,
way
What a good
they can
tip. Yeah.
even get those out of the way, get a feel for it, all that. As much preparation as possible, the less stressed and weird you're going to feel on the day of.
And I have
that's
to
cool.
ask about sunscreen. Is it something if have you ever had a redheaded bride? I mean, everyone should wear sunscreen. We know that no matter skin color, ethnicity. Obviously, redheads are more prone and to sunburns and more susceptible to melanoma. Have you had a redheaded bride? Well, I guess have you had redheaded brides and grooms?
Yes, yeah, I have actually both. And it's so funny you say that. So I was so on top of my skincare the whole time before I got married. 3 months before, I'm like, I know exactly what I have to do. And then the day before, I was
You got a
so in my
sunburn?
head, I did not think about my skincare at all that day because I was running around and I was trying to set up. I didn't have a wedding planner to take care of things for me. So I was setting up everything all by myself that whole day in the
Wow.
sun, and I got burnt so badly the night before. And that was
Oh,
something that I had
goodness.
to fix
Oh.
and adjust the
Yeah.
next
So
day.
now
Yeah.
for your brides, especially since you've experienced that, is that part of your emergency kit? Do you give them sunscreen? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and I have I have like these here too. These are
Oh,
my typical
I was
go-to,
just
the
about to
like
ask you. That's so
tinted.
great. Okay, so CeraVe and the
Yeah.
Neutrogena.
Yes, yeah. I love the CeraVe one, but to be honest,
Same.
it is a little bit more tan than I'm used to being.
Right, they're
um,
tinted. Yeah.
The tinted, I
yeah.
know that's where the tinted can get a little you have to try a few tinted sunscreens, I think, to see which one works for your skin tone because sometimes, yeah, they can be too dark, maybe too orange based, but I
Right.
love. So,
I
do you
really
recommend a tinted sunscreen for your brides and grooms?
I do, and I mean, just for my own personal wear, I don't wear foundation anymore. I just use the tinted
Same.
sunscreen
Same.
because I've
Yep.
spent so many hundreds of dollars trying to find a foundation that works,
I
and I just
know.
like still haven't found one. So I ditch it. I just go to sunscreen. It's easier for me to reapply. But yeah, I like the Neutrogena one that they came out. This is like the lightest one that I've been able to find that matches my skin, but it does not have a lot of coverage. That's kind of the only,
The only thing.
downside.
Yeah, I know. So, okay, so let's talk about redhead makeup. We know that you were part of our ultra fine pencil campaign in 2022. So that was the year that you
Yeah.
got
Like a
married,
month
right?
before you got married.
Yes, yeah,
Wow.
it was. You guys were actually my very first sponsor. I like still have all of your boxes, and they're
Oh,
like
you
Wow.
memorabilia.
do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're
Oh.
memorabilia for me. So I have kept everything very pristine.
That is so great. So what is part of your current makeup routine? I know you have the CeraVe and the Neutrogena. Um, and what else are you personally using?
Yeah, so I use that sunscreen. I use like super light concealer. I really like the True Match concealer. I feel like it's not as cakey as the
Right.
other ones. So that's what I've been using lately. But I mean, okay, the brows, I really like your fluffy brow one. That's the one
The
that I've used the most.
volumizing.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah, that's the one I use most frequently. As far as lips, I always go with like these mauve colors.
Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty.
Um,
Yes.
I don't know. I love a bold lip when I'm like doing events and things, but for pretty much on the daily wear, that those neutrals is it. And then I feel like every palette that I have is like these browns and
Yeah. Yeah.
warm and like
Same.
pinky kind of things. So yeah, I like keeping it really light and natural. On occasion, I'll go dark and smoky, but for the most part, pretty neutral.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
your lip color now.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like I have like 1,000 of these things, and they're all the same color.
I know, I know. It's so funny. We'll have to send you our finely bold lipstick line that
Yes.
it's a nude, a pink, and a red. But the nude, it does have a little bit of that mauve undertone to it. So you can pick up a hint of pink in it, but it's more obviously a nude. So it's like the everyday nude lipstick. And it would be
Yeah,
perfect for brides too.
I enjoy that a lot. The nude having a more pink undertone rather than the orange undertone because you get some
Yes.
nudes that look very tan.
Yeah, and they can almost like wash you out, right?
Right. Yeah, you look like you have orange lipstick on sometimes, and
Yeah.
yeah, not the vibe.
I also wanted to ask too. So, with our little internet research before talking to you, you work with your husband, and I know that that's part of your bio. But
Yeah.
how is that? How is it working with him? And I know how it is being in a marriage, and I love being married. But how is it working with your spouse?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's. I mean, I'm so grateful that you say that and that you've done your research. He is so behind the scenes the majority of the time, but he is also the core of our entire business.
He does
I
like everything.
definitely, yeah, he is like, he holds me up. That's I gotta say that. He also is our videographer solely. So I'll do the photo and planning work. He'll do the planning work and videography. But he's doing all kinds of things for. He's currently cutting the cocktail toppers as we speak now.
I
Oh,
love
best hubby
that.
ever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, he's incredibly supportive. It's been such an honor to be able to have both of us working full time in this business. Obviously, it comes with its challenges. Having to be 24/7 with your spouse takes a little bit of navigating.
Yeah.
But I think we're really figuring it out. We've learned a lot in this past couple years, and especially this last year with how significant the growth was. It was kind of like get on board and get on board fast because we're going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I love that, and it must have been so great that when you did get start, like you had, how big was your social presence at that time when you started? Was it still growing, or did you feel like, oh, I actually have like a good base to be able to do this?
Yeah, I mean, I think back when so I started the social media really just as comedy skits. That's really how I began the whole process, just because I loved acting,
Yeah, you have a
and that was
very
the
good
only
you have
place
a
to do
great
it.
sense of humor.
A good
Thank
presence
you.
too. I can see
Yeah.
if I can see acting in your background.
Thank you. Yeah, that was the closest I could get because, I live in a very small city. There's not really any acting jobs. So I started as comedy. And I gained a pretty decent following. I think I was able to get close to 100,000 just with the comedy. But to be honest, it was really draining. Having to come up with a comedy skit every day to post
Oh,
for content just
gosh, yeah.
really it drained my brain. And even though I loved
Yeah.
it, it just didn't seem sustainable. So I took a break from social media for a long time. And it wasn't until I just got so passionate working and photographing the weddings that's what I started posting about. And then I shared my own journey, and then we just fully launched into weddings. And now I feel so rejuvenated when I get to make content because there's so many things about the wedding
Hmm.
field and world to talk about. I don't feel like my well ever runs dry.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
like you
so
have
great.
content to share every day, and I'm sure that also takes stress off of you because I'm sure the comedy, yeah, exactly what you said. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, what am I going to talk about today? Whereas you can talk
Yeah.
about so much relating to the wedding, and
Right.
it's such an important part of someone's life, and you're really making an impact on their life for that day, and then the planning beforehand, making sure that it's stress free.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally the best job I've ever had. And there is last year we worked a wedding sometimes twice to three times every weekend. We said
Wow.
yes to every single opportunity. We said we're gonna like we're on board, we're doing this, and so we worked a wedding at least once to three times a week.
Cool.
And being able to just see people in this insanely vulnerable and beautiful place on a regular
Yes.
basis. I mean, it's just changed the world for me, you know, coming from
Yeah.
working in a janitor position where everybody is just miserable all the time
Yeah.
to this role. It's amazing. It's really amazing to see.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great. Stephanie and I, that's why I think that's when you find out that what you're doing is the right thing. Because
Mhm.
when we first started How to Be a Redhead, and we've been doing it now over 13 years, we love getting up every day because we have so many goals. We have so many aspirations. We're basically creating something we wish we had growing up. And when you have that behind you, you just keep going. Like so many people are like, how have you done it for so many years? And I'm sure people will ask you and your husband, like, how are you going to all these weddings? But when you love something and it's your work, it's like you want to pop out of bed in the morning because you have so much on your mind and on your plate, and it's fun and exciting. So I understand like how cool this must be for both of you.
Yeah, it's that I think it's Japanese where it's the ikigai chart. You
Mm.
have what you're good at, what you love to do, what makes money, and what helps the world, and you have
Mm,
that little middle circle. And I feel like that's all those other jobs that I had maybe hit one, two, or three of those circles, but they never hit all four until this beautiful opportunity that we've created for ourselves. And that's exactly how I feel. I wake up with purpose. I'm motivated. We've got
yeah.
our today's goals and then like 12 years from now goals. So
Yeah, what a great feeling. So, what is next for you and your business?
yeah, so I mean, we're always developing our store. We're always trying to figure out new products that we can make and bring to the industry that are interesting and creative, as well as constantly trying to build the social media. I really want to get to the 1 million followers on each of my platforms. I have
Yeah.
them collectively, but I'd love to reach that. But we also have a massive, massive project coming out at the end of April, which I can't wait to get into. It is basically a dating website to meet your wedding planner. And we're
That is
trying
Cool.
awesome.
yeah, we're trying to make the first step in meeting your wedding planner and also as a vendor, meeting your clients a more enjoyable and authentic and easy experience. And so we have been
Wow.
working on this baby for like a whole year.
I can
Congrats. That's
imagine. That's
awesome.
awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. So it's like a dating app, but you are able to find your wedding planner that based on like
Yes.
your needs and your wants. I'm sure your budget.
Yes, yeah, and so it's called findyourweddingplanner.com. Literally is what I call. I'm trying to make it nice and
Simple.
Wow.
That's
simple.
so great. Oh, what an awesome
um,
idea.
Yeah, and we've curated a lot of these directory sites ask like, "What's your budget? Where are you getting married?" But we
Hmm.
have really curated our questions to be educational and also guiding because sometimes you have no idea what your budget should be, or sometimes you don't even know what you need. And so our questionnaire is guided way differently than any other questionnaire that's out there for directory sites, as well as we require introductory videos from every single planner. So you're not just seeing a picture of their logo and reading who they are. You get to see a video of who they are and introduce and kind of streamlining the process,
Wow.
taking after so much social media and TikTok. We're kind of bringing that into the directory site world.
Love that.
Wow.
Well, congrats.
That is really, really cool. I actually saw an app the other day. And I was like, there's so many cool ideas out there. But it's a dating app and it's based on your credit score. That's how you get matched. And I was like,
Wow.
I don't know if that's a good idea because like I would have never met my husband. But
Yeah, but that's like Love is Blind.
some people that's really important to them. Yeah, like Love is Blind. Like that
Love it,
yeah.
but Love is Blind, not the season that was just in Charlotte, the
5.
season before that. And that couple didn't one of the things that she didn't like was his credit score. Remember? Did you
That's
guys?
insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would cut that right out.
Yeah, like
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
funny.
no, so I love that about the wedding planner. I mean, it is like you do, I mean, Stephanie and I have done like events for the website for so long now, but I wish that we would have been able to find an event planner for our Rocket Like a Redhead events because just to find someone who you're
oh,
going to
it was
jive
so
with because
challenging.
you're
It was
talking
so
to them
challenging.
you're talking to them all the time. You are, almost like marrying them for a small period of time
Well,
and they're talking to you and emailing you and then you're like
yeah.
if you don't work the same or you don't have the same personality, like that can also be like a thing because Stephanie and I are so organized. We need someone who's just as organized as we are. Whereas some people, maybe they don't care about that.
And you're also
Yeah.
trusting them, which I think finding someone that you
Yeah.
really trust, that word is so important to make sure that you're not worrying about
Yeah.
what's behind the scenes happening, that you have full trust in that person, that team, that they're doing their job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's why we made video mandatory is because I think I mean you have to have some sort of immediate connection with your wedding planner. And I feel like, even in my job as a planner, when I'm searching for vendors for specific people, you have to call and set up a million meetings and you got to sit through like 20 video calls to see if you really vibe and connect with that person. So what ours is going to do is just cut that all out. You're going to be able to look at every single person's introductory video and know immediately without having to set up an extra meeting if you like how the person like vibes with you. I feel like you can always get a really good read on that through video. And I also teach like a whole course to our planners on how to do the videos and how to get those clients better and how to improve in your video quality.
Very awesome. Well, congrats, and I will definitely
cool.
be sharing the website. We'll share it in the podcast notes, but with a couple of my girlfriends that when that time comes, they can have that resource and that outlet.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're so excited about it. It's something that I said, it goes on for so long, and when you can finally share with people, it's so exciting.
Oh, we know. We had to. We have to keep so many secrets for so many launches or for so many things. And when you finally get to tell people, it's such a good feeling. So
yeah.
we are here supporting you until you get to your 1 million followers on different outlets. And we're so proud of you. So keep going. And we love following you. Comedy or no comedy.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And same goes for you. I've been watching your journey this whole time. I follow very closely. So I'm excited.
Thank you so much.
Really,
Thank you.
Congratulations on everything. It's amazing to see how much you guys have grown, even just in the past 2 years.
I know. Thank you. I know how it is. It's grueling but fun.
Right. Yeah, it's worth it in the end.
It is. Well, Lynea, thank you so much for coming on the How to Be a Redhead podcast, and we can't wait to keep following you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.